Hey everyone, welcome to the channel, and welcome to the top 10 worst albums of 2024. So, this is going to be a clip show of sorts, showing segments from different videos I've done over the course of 2024, with thoughts of each of these records that I've done in my albums impressions videos this year. Link to that playlist is in the description below. I recognise that's kind of lazy, but I want to focus on bringing you positive videos about music I love next. And also because, my god, do I not want to listen to some of these again. Oh, and one of these is an EP, but details. Here's another negative video for your insatiable algorithm, YouTube. Let's get counting. Number 10. Justin Timberlake. Everything I Thought It Was. Well, this was a lot. Granted, most Justin Timberlake albums are way too long, but this is the point where that becomes exhausting. You could cut a lot of the middle and end out of this and be left with a much stronger album. There is quality here, somewhere between the best cuts of Future Sex Love Sounds and the 2020 Experience, and also where he's not referencing 9 Inch Nails. Yikes. Selfish is one of the weakest songs on the album, which really is a shame. It's near the end of the runtime as well, which I think says a lot. The rest of NSYNC randomly turn up for a song as well. I do find it kind of funny how he randomly calls on NSYNC sometimes, and they just show up, like they're the Thundercats or something. Oh, and Conditions is a worst song of the year contender for when I get round to making that video. Jesus Christ. So yeah, like this random mess of thoughts of mine, this album is all over the place. Next. Number 9. From Camila Cabello, XOXO. By now this album has been thoroughly taken apart by critics and others online, to a point I feel bad just bringing it up again. I really liked Camila's last album, Familia. It felt like it demonstrated a lot of her strengths and appeal as an artist, and I think that's overall her best album. But here, that Latin flavour is gone, replaced with dancehall and lo-fi hip-hop style production, and with detuned pianos and blown-out drums. The sudden hyperpop direction is definitely a move. I'm not one to say an artist shouldn't do a certain style. Artistic freedom of expression should always be encouraged. But here, yeah, it's like they've just heard Brat for the first time and are now scrambling around to try and dress up the album in its best Charlie XCX costume. It's a train wreck that we've all just slowly watched roll by in fascination since I Love It came out and it was revealed Drake was going to be on here twice. Like there's literally just a Drake song. Camila has no involvement in it at all, it's just here. It's like she left the room for 5 minutes and Drake just said, well, this looks like a job for me, and here it is. A random Drake song on another artist's record. At a time like this of all times. Look, there are bad albums you can be entertained by at the very least, and then there's this, which just left me feeling uncomfortable while I sat in its presence. An album that feels like it's turned up to a show before any real rehearsal has ever actually happened, and now everyone's just scrambling around to deliver whatever they can. I feel like a concerned parent wondering if Camila is okay. And also, who at the record label is even responsible for all this in the first place? Try giving Familia another spin again. You can skip this one. Number 8. From Ice Spice, Y2K. Do you like that one Ice Spice song? Would you like to hear Ice Spice do that one thing she does for roughly 23 minutes? Well, here you go. Yeah, I didn't get much out of this. Sorry. Number 7. From Lil Uzi Vert, Eternal A Take 2. The second sequel type album in this video, this time from Lil Uzi Vert. And look, I'm really trying to root for Lil Uzi Vert here. Maybe it's the wholesome interviews I see of them with Nardwuar, or I see them as someone who I can root for. Maybe it's the devil-may-care attitude of their music that I've always found to be compelling. It was almost always a mess, but at least it felt authentic to Lil Uzi Vert. But here, no. There's a fine line between a fun mess and just a mess, and this is the latter. So much of it is just indistinguishable from one song to another, either running on repetition just to make up runtimes, or being completely incoherent to the point you're just laughing at the flexing and how ridiculous it all is. I can't say I was bored, but I can say this is an excellent advert to stay away from the nitros he keeps mentioning. Don't do drugs, kids. Number 6. From Katy Perry, 143. You've likely already seen the scathing critical backlash from both critics and the general public by now, since the ill-fated Woman's World came out. As far as first impressions go, that's definitely a case of shooting yourself in the foot, and then it was discovered Dr. Luke was a producer for the vast majority of this album, and that's a case of reloading just to shoot the other foot. This project has just seemed doomed to fail, and when you work with the aforementioned producer and double down on working with him, yeah, I can't really defend you. But with all the bad reviews, I was expecting something memorably terrible, like several variations of You're So Gay. You're so gay and you don't even like boys. And that one song where she was getting her nails done all Japanesey. And after all that, my verdict is, really? That's it? This is Metacritic's worst scored album since 2011. Not that anyone should put any kind of stock in Metacritic whatsoever, but this? An album that sounds like someone's random background dance music playlist for a house party. Sure, it's there, but I'm catching up with someone and talking to them. I'm not really paying attention to it. Seriously, everyone. This is what's caused so much offense. Like, come on. At least give me something I can remember being terrible. But no, this is just a regular, boring kind of bad album. Which might be worse depending upon your expectations of Katy Perry, who, let's face it, has always been way more of a singles artist. And when she produces excellence, she shows you why she's a woman who scored 5 number 1s off one album. But when she was bad, I at least remembered the terrible songs. She had a personality to commit to a bad song at the very least. This could have come from any C or D lister with a limited budget, yet somehow has all the production and songwriting talent that has been with her throughout her career. Max Martin is still here, but it feels like all the colour and sparkle has just gone. Half of these songs feel like they want to be played in the clubs or be camp in a way that could approach a Eurovision Song Contest style, but there's so little dynamic shifts or punch to either the bass or drums, and it all just feels so flat and lacking a memorable hook. The low point comes in the song Artificial, as Jid wastes yet another great guest verse on a bad song, but it's the opening line. Why you so artificial? Geez, Katy, way to write our own jokes for us. Someone once leading the pack in how we look at pop music, and this is now where we are. Overall, I'm just left feeling sad. The current big names like Charli XCX, Chappell Roan and Sabrina Carpenter are doing their own thing, and this was a chance for Katy Perry to show why so many people fell in love with her in the first place, and remind us that there's still a place for the seasoned performers in an increasingly cutthroat environment, and the result is just a shrug of a record. Save for the last song. The best sounding one, so of course it's not produced by Dr. Luke. If this album proves anything, it's that he isn't needed anymore. And the only reason he's still here is probably due to shady behind the scenes record label goings on that we can't possibly begin to know about or even try to understand. It's why I'm not mad at this. I'm just disappointed this is what a Katy Perry album sounds like in 2024. One that I won't remember in a week's time. What a sad thing to say. Number 5. From Motley Crue, Cancelled. This is music exclusively made for people who say woke mind virus with a straight face. This is music made for people who believe rock music is dead but haven't changed the radio station in their car for the last 30 years, and probably don't know what Spotify is. This is music for people who think all rap music is terrible, but this Tom McDonald fella, this speaks to me. And then they'll write a comment on one of his videos that looks like this. So of course this is music for people who won't be able to tell their version of Fight For Your Right is a cover. This is music for people who post harmful rhetoric about immigrants on Facebook, followed by the phrase, "I bet none of my friends will share this," and then wonder why their friends have stopped inviting them to things. This EP only lasts for 12 minutes, but it's 12 minutes I'm still annoyed that I wasted listening to Motley Crue in 2024. Number 4. From Hardy, Quit. Come on Hardy, don't write my jokes for me, at least make me work for it. No, but in reality, this one's pretty easy to take in for what it is. Once you remove a concept like Hardy had on The Mockingbird and The Crow, you pretty much take away anything that could lead to Hardy making something that I find remotely interesting. So what we're left with is just an album that tries to split the difference between Kid Rock and Five Finger Death Punch. If you're into hard rock or country rock, you've heard this kind of style done better in so many other places. And what is here just gives you a series of similar sounding songs that default to overly compressed guitar mush, that forgets what a bass line is, sounds worse than it did on the previous concept album, and has no idea how to handle Hardy when he tries to do his scream vocals. And the lyrical content is honestly hilariously terrible when he isn't trying to come across as this outlaw badass who loves his guns and firing them like a crazy person. He's proclaiming he's the orphan of the country music town, an outcast to the industry. My dude, you are signed to Big Loud Records. But the real highlight is Rockstar, where he points out that he doesn't have a song called Rockstar yet. So here's a song he wrote called Rockstar. This is literally the same kind of concept to the Lonely Island song, Japan.
We've never been to Japan, so we wrote a song about the three of us in Japan, and our label has to pay for it.
This rockstar strategy will get him rising up the pop charts, according to him. Best of luck to you there, Hardy. The embarrassing moments that made this album laughably bad can't outweigh just how exhausting it was to get through. But hey, at least I didn't quit. Number 3. From MGK and Trippy Red. Genre Sad Boy. My god, that's a stupid album title. Look, I went into this one with no expectations. I heard the two of them been friends for years, so hey, just two friends making music together. That can be a way for both of them to bring out the best in each other. For all you can say about MGK, I at least feel he puts in the effort for whatever he does, and as for Trippy Red, I will confess I don't know a great deal about, sorry. The worst thing they could do is make something boring. And that's exactly what we got. Jesus Christ, this is rough. Just the most lifeless of instrumentation, low effort, and the woe is me type energy and delivery that is just deeply baked into all of this. It all comes across as amateur at best and bedroom musician who's just getting started at worst. Like two dumb kids who are just messing around with a cheap 8-track recorder. It feels like they're trying to split the difference between Juice WRLD and Lil Peep, but they see the music they made as more of an aesthetic rather than have any idea what made either of them connect so deeply to so many. Speaking of connecting deeply to so many, the Imogen Heap sample. In the past few years, we've seen older songs from Kate Bush, Sophie Ellis-Bextor, and Miguel become massively successful. Can we make some room for Imogen, please? I refuse to believe the biggest moments of this woman's legacy is going to be defined by being sampled by Jason Derulo, MGK and Trippy Red, and that one stupid scene from the OC. She has multiple 10 out of 10 albums. I don't know, someone in charge pick one song and let's all get to work, shall we? The best thing I can say about this album is that it's only 27 minutes long. But even then, it's not some gather your friends so you can laugh at how bad something is, if that's the kind of thing you do. The hive mind that is the internet collectively decided this was dead on arrival, and me talking about it here probably made you say, oh yeah, I totally forgot this came out. A record devoid of any kind of substance and just a miserable listening experience from start to finish. Number 2. From Jack's Dear Joe. The debut album from the lady responsible for Cinderella Snapped. I wasn't kind to that song, spoiler alert, but let's see what else she's got.
This is your daily wash your hands and change your sheets. And this is your daily reminder that Epstein didn't kill himself.
Can't say that.
Why not?
Yeah, this was a mistake. Where do I even start? Imagine if AJR tried to be a comedy band. Humor is subjective, sure, but when I say this album is a pick-me-girl type album, I mean that in the worst possible way. But also just an album confused with what it even wants to do or say. There are 7 interludes on this thing, either under or around the minute mark, and almost all of them are just a voice and a ukulele. Yes, I know this happened over a year ago now, I'm still not over it. Every time I hear a woman's voice and a ukulele, my mind only goes to one place. Also, Victoria's Secret was 2022, and Like My Father was released in 2021, and is by far the best song here. The rest aim for a theatrical style of 2010 Sia, but it's closer to Trauma Queen era Gabby Hanna. There are serious topics at hand, and Jax is game for tackling them, like on I Choose Violence, calling out older men preying on women much younger than them. But when you put it on an album and sandwich it in between interludes about someone cheating and getting an STD, one called Epstein Didn't Kill Himself, and the meme of the hour, Hock Tour. Yeah, a poison type of pick-me mentality or clickbait, click-on-me type material. Play the Hock Tour song, everyone! Come on, click on the funny meme. I know you want to. This totally won't be dated in 2 months' time. Well, I did. It was 19 seconds worth of audio about tricking people into clicking on it. Spend that $0.003 royalty payment wisely, Jax. I hope your dignity was worth it to create this utter disaster of a project half caught between wanting to be a 12-year-old edgelord and half attempting to write music for Coco Melon. Just don't bother. Not even as a curious hate listen that you think you might be able to get a laugh from, because there is no joy to be found here. Number 1. From Young Gravy, Serving Country. I've said multiple times that artistic freedom and expression to do whatever genre you like should be encouraged, and risks should be taken in music. Well, this fucking thing makes me want to forget I ever thought of something so stupid. Christ alive, whatever the hell this thing is supposed to be, it's bad. It's really, really bad. The kind of bad where you just kind of sit there and say, why? Why is Zac Brown here twice? 3 times if you count the god-awful sample of chicken fried on Clementine. Do you not remember the last time you tried to incorporate hip-hop and country?
To the middle, it's the way your hips ride the little dimples. It's the small of your back. It's a fantasy land, damn.
Shania Twain, you have one of the best-selling country albums of all time. You do not need to give him the sample clearance for Still the One on the song My Day Ones, or do a whole separate song with him. And Brantley Gilbert. Actually no, this is about Eurolevel. Congratulations, you two are made for each other. And it's not just the cheap drum machines either. Half of what else is being played here sounds like you'd find it in an outdated sample library of GarageBand. And then there's Young Gravy himself, slathered in a bizarre amount of vocal filters that half make him sound like a sleazy pickup artist and half make him sound comatose. There's nothing remotely engaging, nothing funny, nothing sincere, and nothing that shows Young Gravy is anything else besides one of the music industry's biggest posers and biggest hacks. Every song feels like he's just making it up as he goes along, ticking stereotypical boxes along the way, and being as basic as possible in the process. And to all this you might say, well, look at him. His name is Young Gravy. You're not supposed to take him seriously. You're supposed to turn off your brain and have some dumb fun with a few beers. But I'm sorry, he is a tourist, half caught between hip-hop and country, and not able to make anything that's going to please a fan of either genre. There's a million and one things you could be listening to in either genre that's going to give you whatever you're looking for, and I'm willing to go out on a limb and saying he's just attempting a country music sound because that's what the hot thing is at the moment. And unlike Post Malone, there is no warmth or depth or heart or any kind of remote level of understanding as to why so many people fell in love with country music in the first place. There is nothing here but a sad, lazy, cynical, joyless, an empty record that only exists to make the industry around it all look worse. Listen to literally any other country album that's come out this year. An utterly worthless listen. And that's the list. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to like and subscribe, it would be a wonderful help to the channel. Leave comments about anything you'd like to below, as it all helps the algorithm. I'd love to know what your worst album list looks like as well. And lastly, if you'd like to help out the channel, my Patreon link is below and it's just $1 a month if you want to support me moving forward. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next time.